Unlocking the strength within to overcome emotional dependency. The path to liberation, breaking the chains of emotional dependency. What if I told you that the strength you seek to overcome emotional dependency is already within you? Would you believe it? Most of us don't. Emotional dependency is a subtle yet powerful force, binding us to external validation, affection, or approval. It whispers to us that we are incomplete without another's attention or love. But is that true? Take a moment to ask yourself, who am I when I stand alone? This is not a rhetorical question. Think deeply about it. Who are you when the noise of relationships quiets down, and you face only yourself? Emotional dependency thrives on the illusion that we need someone else to fill the gaps in our souls. But the truth is, the gaps are self-made. They exist because we've turned away from our inner self. Picture this: imagine you're standing in a storm, clinging to a fragile tree for support. The wind grows stronger, and the tree bends dangerously. You panic because you've placed all your trust in something outside of yourself. Now imagine letting go and standing firmly on your own 2 feet. Rooted in the ground. Unwavering. That's the strength within you, it's waiting to be realized. I want you to reflect on this. What if the pain of emotional dependency is not your enemy but your teacher? Pain is often misunderstood. When we experience the ache of rejection or the sting of neglect, our first instinct is to run from it or cover it up. But what if we could sit with it? What if we could ask the pain, "What are you here to show me?" You'll find that the answers often point back to yourself. The pain reveals where you've abandoned your inner world, where you've given away your power to others. The discomfort forces you to look inward, to confront the parts of yourself you've ignored. But how do you begin this process of self-discovery? Start by observing your emotions without judgment. When you feel dependent, when the craving for someone else's validation arises, pause. Don't act on it immediately. Instead, breathe deeply and ask yourself, what am I really seeking right now? Is it love? Security? Belonging? Once you identify the need, ask yourself another question: can I provide this for myself? This is where the magic begins. You realize that the love you crave from others can be cultivated within. You can love yourself unconditionally, nurture your own growth, and offer yourself the security you seek. But this is not an easy path, it requires practice and patience. Emotional dependency doesn't dissolve overnight. It clings to us because it's familiar. It's comfortable, even in its pain. Yet, the process of breaking free starts with small steps. Imagine every day as a new opportunity to strengthen your independence. Today, you may choose to spend an hour alone, journaling your thoughts. Tomorrow, you might try expressing a boundary in a relationship. These small actions build your inner resilience, brick by brick, until you stand tall and unshakable. Here's a question to ponder as you continue this journey. What would your life look like if you stopped depending on others for your happiness? What would you create? Who would you become? And how would you feel? The answers to these questions hold the key to your freedom. Reclaiming power, building emotional self-sufficiency. Let's begin with a simple yet profound truth: you are your own anchor. Imagine the vast ocean of life, where the waves represent the emotions, challenges, and relationships that come and go. While the waves may crash, rise, and fall, an anchor remains steady. The question is, where is your anchor rooted? For many of us, Our anchor is misplaced. We root it in other people, friends, partners, or even family. When they drift or falter, we lose our grounding. But what if your anchor was rooted in the unshakable strength of your own spirit? To reclaim your power, the first step is awareness. Begin by noticing when and why you feel emotionally dependent. What triggers that need to reach outward instead of inward? Perhaps it's loneliness, insecurity, or fear of abandonment. Once you identify these triggers, don't push them away. Welcome them like old friends with a story to tell. Here's a practice for you: the next time you feel the pull of dependency, pause. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. With each exhale, say to yourself, I am enough. This isn't just a mantra, it's a reminder of the truth you've forgotten. But words alone aren't enough. To build emotional self-sufficiency, you need action. Think about the skills you've developed over the years. Perhaps you've learned to cook, drive, or solve problems at work. These are forms of independence. Emotional independence is no different. It's a skill that can be learned and refined. Ask yourself, what can I do today to show myself love and care? It could be something small, like making a meal you enjoy or taking a walk in nature. Or it might be something deeper, like journaling about your fears or practicing gratitude for your own efforts. Each act of self-love strengthens the bond you have with yourself. Here's another truth: dependency is often a sign that we've neglected our own needs. We look to others to fill gaps that we haven't taken the time to address. But what if, instead of seeking someone to complete us, we chose to complete ourselves? Imagine this: you're planting a garden. Each plant represents an aspect of your emotional well-being: self-love, confidence, resilience, and joy. If you neglect your garden, the plants wither, and you feel empty. But when you tend to your garden daily, it thrives. You no longer need someone else to bring you flowers because you've grown your own. Let's go deeper. Emotional self-sufficiency isn't about shutting people out or avoiding relationships. It's about entering relationships from a place of wholeness, not lack. When you love yourself fully, you don't demand love from others, you share it. You give without fear of loss because your well is full. But what happens when you falter? Because you will, this journey is not linear. You might find yourself slipping back into old patterns, seeking validation or approval. When this happens, don't judge yourself. Instead, ask, what is this moment teaching me? What part of myself needs attention right now? This is where growth happens, not in perfection but in the willingness to begin again. Every time you catch yourself and choose a different path, you strengthen your emotional independence. Now, let's talk about relationships. Ask yourself, do my relationships empower me or keep me small? Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and support. They challenge you to grow and celebrate your independence. But unhealthy relationships feed on dependency, creating cycles of need and control. To break free, you must have the courage to set boundaries and, when necessary, walk away. But how do you set boundaries without guilt? Remember this: a boundary is not a rejection of the other person, it's an act of self-respect. When you honor your own needs, you teach others how to honor them too. Here's a question to reflect on: what would it feel like to be fully responsible for your own happiness? At first, it might feel overwhelming. But with practice, it becomes liberating. You realize that you don't need to chase love, approval, or validation. You are the source of these things. Close your eyes and imagine yourself 5 years from now. Picture a version of you who has mastered emotional self-sufficiency. How do you carry yourself? What energy do you bring to your relationships? How does it feel to be free from the chains of dependency? That vision is not a dream, it's a destination. And every choice you make today brings you closer to it. The strength of solitude, thriving in your own power. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine solitude. Not as loneliness, but as a sanctuary, a place where your spirit finds peace and strength. What does it feel like? Does it scare you? Or does it excite you? Many of us fear solitude because we equate it with emptiness. But true solitude is full. It's full of self-awareness, creativity, and clarity. It's the space where you meet yourself. Think about this. When was the last time you truly sat with yourself? Without distractions. What did you discover? Thriving in your own power begins with embracing solitude as a gift rather than a punishment. When you stop seeking distractions, be it through relationships, social media, or constant activity, you create room for something profound, self-connection. This is where your true strength lies. Not in what others give you, but in what you cultivate within yourself. Let's explore this deeper. Why do we cling to others so tightly? Often, it's because we fear our own inadequacies. We believe that without someone else, we are not enough. But have you ever considered that the very things you seek in others, love, acceptance, understanding, are things you are fully capable of giving yourself? Here's a challenge for you. Spend 1 hour alone today. Intentionally. Turn off your phone. Step away from your responsibilities. And just be. Sit with your thoughts. No matter how uncomfortable they may feel. Ask yourself, what is my inner voice telling me? What does my soul need right now? As you practice solitude, you'll notice something remarkable. The noise of the world fades, and a deeper wisdom begins to emerge. This wisdom is your own. It has always been there, waiting for you to listen. It tells you that you are already whole, already worthy, and already strong. But solitude isn't just about listening, it's also about creating. When you stop relying on others to fill your emotional cup, you gain the freedom to design your life on your own terms. Think about it. What would you do if you weren't afraid of being alone? What passions would you pursue? What dreams would you chase? This is your time to explore. Take up a hobby, learn a skill, or start a project that excites you. When you pour energy into your own growth, you build a foundation of self-sufficiency that no one can take away. Now, let's talk about love, the kind that comes after you've built this foundation. True love doesn't come from a place of need, it comes from abundance. When you love yourself deeply, you don't seek someone to complete you, you seek someone to complement you. You don't cling to them out of fear, you choose them out of freedom. Here's a thought. Imagine a relationship where both people are whole. Where love is a choice rather than a necessity. What would that look like? How would it feel? That's the kind of love you deserve. And it starts with you. When you thrive in your own power, you become a magnet for relationships that are healthy, fulfilling, and empowering. You no longer settle for less because you know your worth. But thriving doesn't mean you'll never feel lonely. Loneliness is part of the human experience. And it's okay to feel it. The difference is that you no longer fear it. Instead, you see it as a signal, a reminder to reconnect with yourself. Here's a practice to help you in moments of loneliness. Sit in stillness and place your hand on your heart. Breathe deeply and say to yourself, I am here for you. I see you. I love you. These simple words can be incredibly powerful. They remind you that you are never truly alone because you always have yourself. Now, as we close this journey, I want to leave you with a question that only you can answer. What does it mean to truly be free? Take your time with this question. Let it guide you as you continue to unlock the strength within. Remember, the power to overcome emotional dependency is not something you find outside of yourself. It is something you uncover within. The path is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Every step you take toward self-discovery, every moment of solitude you embrace, and every act of self-love you practice brings you closer to the freedom you seek. You are stronger than you know, braver than you believe, and more capable than you've ever imagined. Now, go out and thrive, not because you need to prove anything to anyone, but because you owe it to yourself to live fully and freely. The world doesn't need another dependent soul, it needs you. Standing in your power. Lighting the way for others to do the same. Thank you for being here. You are extraordinary. And I believe in you.